Hi, everyone. So good to see you all. I see lots of familiar faces. So thank you guys for joining. And yeah, I look forward to sharing. I know you could leave your cameras turned off, but I kind of want to just like clear the space of, and start off with like a good intention. So if everyone could just say one word about how they're feeling today. And you can be real, like if you're not in the best mood, but and then we'll just you could just popcorn it to someone and then I'll go through the presentation. But my one word is I'm excited, and I will pass it over to Charlotte.
Hey, everybody. I'm walking, so right now I'm out of breath. That's more than one word, but grateful, grateful. I'll popcorn it to the next person because I can't see any faces. So somebody just take it from me. Thank you.
Oh, not everybody at the same time. As Mara, I'm feeling really honored.
My name is Kiera, and I'm feeling a little anxious.
My name is Joya, and I'm feeling open.
My name is Marina, and I'm feeling glad to be here.
My name is Lakendra, and I'm feeling present.
My name is Lottie, feeling really stoked to be here.
Hi, my name is Elena, and I'm happy to be here too. Hi, Jordan.
Hi, Elena. I think
my name is Hemrish, and I am happy to be here as well.
I think Natasha may be the last one. I don't know.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hi. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. My name's Natasha. I'm so excited to be here. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. Yeah, I'm excited to be here too. And so I'll be talking about how I have navigated and how I'm navigating my midwifery education and journey as a mother, while using kind of my art as a side hustle and many more things. And so I'll share about that later on in the presentation. But first, just a little bit of background about me. Is I'm a mother of two children. They're 8 and 6 years old. And so these are my sons, Jordan and Jet. And they've been on this journey with me since I started. And so Jet was 4 months when I started going back to school to go to nursing school. And so now he's 6. So like he's kind of been there. I was like breastfeeding during my prereqs, and I was like pumping during class. And then, so a lot of been a great journey for them to see. They still sometimes be like, mom's a doctor, which they'll understand later that I'm not a midwife. But I did an MSN program at Western University in Health Sciences, which is the picture below, with the white coat. And so I did an accelerated RN to MSN program because I have my bachelor's in economics. So I had went back to school and did like kind of like a MEPN program like they have at UCS. And then when I went to UCSF for midwifery school, I did a postmaster's graduate program. So I basically did all of the course education that the MEPN program did without doing the master's portion of it. I'm also a birth worker. I have been doing that since 2016. What that work looks like and what my involvement looks like has always fluctuated depending on my schedule. For those who who are like doula or birth supporters or birth keepers know that it's not easy to be on call while having to go to clinic or go to class or have other responsibilities or having young children. And so that kind of journey looks all over the place. But I also do placenta encapsulation. And I actually didn't on here, but I have worked as a registered nurse. And then my main source right now has been doing the dilation wills, which is right over in the corner. And I'll talk more about that later in the presentation as well. So I just kind of created an outline of the nuggets of things that I'll be going over. Just, from the kind of starting point and then down to me creating my hobby, which was the dilation wills, and then turning it into a business. And I can't see in the question box, so I know we're going to do questions later, but if there's anything that I'm missing, please let me know. So first, I think the biggest thing that I think is important when you're looking at like the trajectory of how to navigate this, whether you have kids or not, I think all of this stuff is applicable, is developing a plan. And so, when I made the decision that I was going to go to midwifery school, this was like 6 years ago. And I got this overall picture of what is it that I'm going to need, and mapping out as many details as you can, because there's always those variables that we can't control and things are unexpected that we don't know. But the timeline, what is it going to look like in terms of I'm here at this point, what do I need to do to get to this point, and what does everything in between look like? And so I knew that I wasn't a nurse. I had already completed my bachelor's, so that was my starting point. So when I was researching where to go for school, I had started there, and then I found a pathway that would allow me to get my RN license and then do the midwifery program afterwards, rather than doing like a nursing program and then going into like a MEPN and like doing another BA. I didn't want to do that. There's so many different options out there. So, that's like a whole other discussion and topic to go on. But basically I found what was working for me, and I set that plan, and I just kept working towards that. And obviously there was different variables and things. When I applied to nursing school, I was waitlisted. So when that happened, I had to kind of make an adjustment in my plan, which I ended up actually getting accepted in. But had I not, then what would my life have looked like had I not gotten in at that time? Because, it's very competitive. Programs can be competitive depending on the pathway that you're taking. And so, there can be waiting times, and what is it going to look like in between? I think one of the biggest things for me was, as a parent, I'm not only thinking about my own needs, I'm thinking about my children's needs, and I'm thinking about what am I going to do to be able to financially support them. And so I had to think about my finances and look at housing, transportation, childcare, food. I moved because I'm from Southern California. So moving from Southern California to the Bay, like housing, my whole support system was down there. So that changed things as well. School costs, there's a lot of things that come with going to school that we don't think of outside of tuition. Was like just the simple thing of me paying the bridge toll and parking fees. Parking fees was something that, and some of this stuff is like hindsight, because I didn't calculate for parking fees, but parking fees were really expensive. I was paying like $34 a day when I was at one of my clinics, and some days I was there like 5 days a week. So that added up, and I wasn't really anticipating that. Books, supplies, like your stethoscope or shoes or scrubs or whatever that may be, suturing kits, all of the things that come in along the way. Training programs, are there things that you're going to be doing on top of your education that you want? I think one of the best things that I did not anticipate, that I wish I would have had more and like knowledge about and anticipation were my needs after graduating until getting a job. Because when you're in school, you can get financial aid, right? There's like a little buffer, and you can use that financial aid to help with like your housing or whatever the cost may be. But then once you're graduated, you're no longer getting financial aid, but there's this period in between when you aren't working. Like for an example, when I finished my RN program and I was transitioning in between the RN to this program, I wasn't working. It took me like 6 months to get a job. So, what does that look like to be able to cover my expenses? And what does the support look like in order to be able to cover those things during that time? Paying for boards, that was something that I was not expecting, and paying for all like the licensing and the test taking was quite a hefty cost that I don't think was translated very well, but it's something that you have to think about because these are all things that you have to include in your expenses. So these are all things that when you're looking is like creating this overall plan. Here's kind of like ways that I made income. I worked on a med surg. So the program that I did, which a lot of programs don't exist like this anymore, and they even changed the program that I did, but I did my RN with accelerated. So once I got my RN license, I was still finishing my master's and I was able to work on a med surg unit. So I worked for 1.5 years before I started my midwifery program. So whether you're working as a nurse, whether you're doing whatever job you did before, whatever the case may be, you have like saving money before you're starting school. So, I think for those who have kids, everyone's situation looks different. My co-parenting situation has like been forever evolving. And so when I first started school, it looks very different from how it was now. And so in the beginning of me starting school, I was going through like a custody battle. So like I didn't have any support in there, and I didn't have the money coming like through child support or anything. And so I had to think about those things, and that wasn't like really part of my income. And so I was like having to save money. I was having to think about those things. Whereas like now I'm getting the child support. So that's also a way that is helping with my income, because it's helping pay for my children's costs and the things that I need. But during that time, before I started the midwifery program, before I moved, when I didn't have huge expenses, like I was living at home with my mom. And so me and my kids didn't have to pay rent or whatever. And everyone's circumstances are different. So I definitely recognize that. And that's why I noted like saving money and paying off debt is not always a realistic goal. Like, that's just the reality right now. It's not really realistic, right? Because of the transition. But if you can, and if that's an opportunity, I highly suggest it. So then you have less things to worry about, and you have money, because then you can have that extra money, right, for that time after graduation. Financial aid, taking advantage of that, what is being offered. I applied for a lot of different things throughout the program that had helped me. Like there was a service that they offered where I got $200 a month for groceries. Different little programs that are available to you that you kind of have to look for, but they're so beneficial. I think that oftentimes those things get overlooked. It does take a little bit of time, but once you do it, they're there for you and they'll give you the money. And so those things have really helped carry you this whole time. Applying for scholarships. So there's I put 2 pictures up here for 2 scholarships that were pretty hefty. The one of the graduate nursing at Western, I got a pretty large scholarship there. And it was just like applying for it. And I was like, they paid for me to go to this gala and like all of the things, but I rarely ever took advantage of scholarships. And then over last year, I applied for a FIGS Icon scholarship, which was $50,000, which I was like blown away, because I seen it in my email and I'm like, this wouldn't, I really don't think that this is going to even be an opportunity. Like there's so many people who are going to apply for this. why would they choose me? And I just shared my story, I shared my why, and then I got the scholarship. And so I say all that to say is that there's money out there that is waiting for us to like take advantage of, but we have to look and kind of like, do the papers. Or for the FIGS one, which was really nice, which I knew was my strength, was a video. So I was able to talk, and you can kind of hear in my heart and my passion behind it, rather than a paper, which may not translate over as well. But I say all that to say is like, I highly encourage you to apply for scholarships, because there's so many scholarships out there that are just waiting for you to take that money. Government assistance, food stamps, you get Medi-Cal insurance, because then I have healthcare for me, I have healthcare for my children, we have dental, and then on top of it, it waives that fee for the school. So it was like $1,400 off my tuition, because I didn't have to pay that insurance fee or pay for the insurance through the school. So that was really beneficial. Are you eligible for cash aid? That's really helpful too. All of these things will help you pay for those small costs, because like if you can cut costs in different ways and get things supported, that's all income that's going to help you survive. I mean, it's so expensive no matter where you are, and so just finding those little things to piece it together to cover what you need. Low commitment jobs at the bottom. All through nursing school, I used to teach yoga. And so that was really it was kind of like a self-care thing, because I love it, and it helps bring me a lot of peace and joy, but also it brought me income. During nursing school, I did like telehealth. And so during midwifery school, and I still do it now, is telehealth. I have like 5 patients. And, if you do the RN, you can do the telehealth, you can do registry, or you can do little odd jobs to be able to piece those things together. I was able to like pick up shifts here and there and make a little bit of money during this whole process, when I kind of needed to like fill the gaps, because I've been doing the dilations for about a year, but what happened before that? So low commitment jobs won't stress you out, but can bring you income. Support. So family and friends, I put if they're available, and it's an option, because sometimes I think we live in a capitalist society, that we all are working, we're all busy, we all have a lot of responsibilities, and sometimes it's hard, and that support looks a little bit different for different people, because we're just so consumed by just trying to survive. So I really just want to put emphasis on if it's available, because I know that not everyone has that, but building support system and building people who can try to help you, or asking for help. When I was living in Southern California, my aunt was so helpful. She babysat the kids for me, and that was like something that was super helpful. And I was grateful that I had that. So if you have that, utilizing that. Do you have friends who are offering you, saying, yes, I actually can use that help? Because sometimes people don't know. So it's asking. And then sometimes, it's us actually being open to receiving that, because sometimes we get used to, I know, like I get used to doing everything for myself, but being open and willing to receive that help, especially if people are offering that. Finding low cost resources, childcare programs. So even like in the summer right now, when the kids are not in school, it's hard. I'm studying, I'm trying to do things, and it's hard to focus when they're at home. So I found a program in the summer camps, or some of these programs are really expensive, and they're out of reach, right? But looking for the programs that come with like sliding scales, or things that can cut costs. Having babysitters, I had to hire a babysitter, so that, when I was leaving early shifts, he would come and take the kids to school, and then they would go to their after school program, and then he would pick them up, and I would just, work that out. So that's all part of developing your network and involving, and then the last one was involving the kids with you in your extracurricular. So we were doing a One Love run, and we were dropping off meals, and they came with me. And so it's like understanding that, sometimes you can involve, you can involve the kids with you. A lot of times we're in spaces where people are open and willing to, it's like family thing. Developing a schedule. So I think one thing for me that really helped was being disciplined of, okay, I know my kids, I'm not gonna be able to get anything done once I pick them up from school, and then dinner time, bedtime. So from this time, I'm just not even gonna think about it, but know that once they go to bed, I'm gonna buckle down for these 2 hours and do what I need to do. Or I have this free time. Do I need to get X, Y, and Z done for school? Or is this time that I can use for family time or study time or free time? And so really looking at your schedule and seeing how you can fit all of the pieces together so that you're not missing out on opportunities to be able to maximize your time. And I'm not very rigid on scheduling, but I just know, like, for me, it was like, school study time is very important. Like, I know that I have to do this. And then family time, I'm like, I know I have to do this with my kids. Like, I can't just, the weekends here, we have to find things to do. And then sometimes I would give, and one of the things that I talk about coming up is I would give myself grace, and I would put on a movie for them and let them watch TV, and not be hard on myself about it, because you know what, we're trying to make it through this, and we're all trying to figure it out. And I can only do so much as one person with 2 kids. So self-care practices are really important, and should not be short of anything. You should not give those up, because these help you stay sane and help you be successful to continue and have the capacity to carry all of the things that we do in birth work and in midwifery and in these programs, and being students of color, and what it looks like, and raising children or not, and raising our communities, and what that looks like is diving into ourselves. So for me, what that looks like is I do yoga, I meditate. My dilation wheels was more of a self-care thing. So my art, hanging out with my friends, I put on a picture of my beautiful friends there, doing nothing. I spend time with my kids is also fun, or my partner, or just whoever, and setting boundaries. One thing I was like, you can't do it all. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. Saying no, you can, because sometimes we like to, or I know I do, to take everything on, and then I'm overwhelmed and I'm upset and I'm angry and I'm like, why did I do this to myself? And it was just a matter of me setting boundaries. Communication. So being open with my kids. So I know kids are different ages and that looks different, but for me is just communicating, mommy has a test, I need to study. I have to do this. I need you guys to just help me out. So having that communication of what is happening, so that they know, and they've seen me during this journey. And so they're part of it. Communicating with your support system, saying when you need help, communicating with your program. This isn't a realistic thing for me to do. I think we're adults, we're adult learners. And I think it's realistic or unrealistic to, for them to not think that we don't have a life outside of our education, because we do. And so really communicating what your needs are, and you'd kind of be surprised at what opportunities would be presenting for you. Grace. We have a lot on our plate. And so giving yourself grace, like I said, is sometimes things don't go as that picture perfect. Social media, there's a lot of comparison and all of the things of how you should be parenting, but there's no one right way. I mean, there may be a wrong way, I don't know, but we're all doing the best that we can. And you know what's right and you know what's wrong. And so just giving yourself grace when things don't look perfect, and when your kids maybe have a little bit more screen time than what is recommended, sometimes these are things that we do just to try to get through. There's a lot of sacrifices that are made on your behalf as a parent, your kids. And so understanding that everything is not going to be perfect. And some days they can be overwhelming. And so going back into those practices that we talked about, or really finding what your practices are to help ground you and put you back into that space. And then turning my hobby into a source of income. So the dilation wheels actually was something that I had a wooden dilation wheel, and I had been doing resin art, and I was like, how could I turn this into this to make it look like this? And so I just one night, I like kind of just figured out what I could do, and I created this system to make them. And then I posted the picture. I was like, oh, look at this. And then people were like, I want to buy one. So I'm like, shoot, yeah, and the first way that I did it wasn't very streamlined, and it wasn't really the most efficient way. But as I had grown in my business, I've developed a system, and my partner is an artist too, and he helped me create a mold and a system that helps the process like more streamlined. And so using your resources, using those people who can help you. But it was like, I don't know. It was just this idea, and it was like something that I was passionate about. And I felt like it's unique. No one was doing it. People, it's like, there's this one way of doing things, but then now there's this cool way that I feel good about. And what's been so beautiful and amazing about it is that it's going into all these birth workers' homes, whether you're a doula, whether you're a midwife, whether you're just a birthing person. People post pictures, and like they've gone to like Canada, and they're just all over the United States. And then people will like send me pictures like, look, I spy. And it's been such a beautiful, rewarding thing. And then it's helping pay my bills. Like it's been really helpful. And so, that has been so amazing. It's been such an outlet. And I set realistic expectations with my business. And so I state that in my work is like, it takes time. So I don't try to tell people like 2 weeks, like they get it back. It's like, I give myself a month, which sometimes they get to people sooner. And so it just looks different. But it's just been such a beautiful, hobby that's turned into a source of income. It's yeah, I just am grateful that I kind of was able to use my creativity to develop something that I was passionate about, but can also be compensated for. And then also I was selling yoni steam, so I still do, this is what I mean about those low commitment jobs that can bring you income that kind of are in alignment with what you're already doing. And so with my business, I just have a flow and a system that I follow in order to be able to do this business and then do my schoolwork, and it all kind of just works together. And then my last picture is my little family, my 2 boys, and then my partner. So that is it. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.